the Upper Darby Township Library, and I am here for STEM Shenanigans today. And let's see, we are building with tiny towers today. So, tall towers with tiny cups today. It's going to be super fun. And once I move out of the way, you'll see behind me, yeah, we're doing this on the floor today because I'm hoping it'll get tall enough that I wouldn't be able to reach it if it was on the table. So what you can see behind me here is our STEM kit. Super simple, right? We've got two different kinds of cups. They're both 3 ounces, so they're pretty small. And there's 50 of these little 3-ounce Dixie cups and 50 of these little plastic sort of ramekins, right? All right, so they're different shapes, they're different materials. One of the things that we're going to be testing out is the material going to affect it? Is the shape of the cup going to affect it? How are those things going to play out with our towers here today? So let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Before we get started though, I wanted to talk about a couple of different things that will gonna be sort of factors, right? And when you're building towers, when you're building skyscrapers in real life, right? Like there are some factors. One of them, is obviously your building materials. If we're anticipating wind or earthquakes or anything like that, then we would want sort of flexible materials. We would obviously want things, some way to stick them together, right? So for that reason, we're relying more on friction here today because I'm not going to put mortar or even glue in between these things. They're just going to be sort of freestanding. And so my prediction, and we'll see if I'm right, is that the paper cups will do better in terms of friction because they're a little bit rougher. They're still pretty smooth, but they're a little bit rougher than just the plastic cup, right, which is very smooth. So I'm thinking that friction will be a factor in favor of the paper cups. Again, we'll see. And then you want it to have a good base, right? You want it to have, you want to think about your center of gravity. So just for the sake of trying it out, we're going to try to build just one on top of each other and see how tall we can get with that. Again, my prediction is not super tall, but we'll see. But yeah, so those are the different things that we want to think about, like building materials, center of gravity, your base, having a solid base. So yeah, let's get started. Let's try some of those things out. Because I've got them in my hand, I'm going to start with these paper cups. And this is a handful of 25 of these. I've got 50 total, so we'll see how far I can get. Again, just to get started, I want to try just stacking them one on top of another and see how tall I can get with sort of a very long, tall, thin structure. And then we'll, if that doesn't work out, as I anticipate that it probably will not, we'll try something different. We'll see what sort of shape, structure is going to work better. So let's get started. I'm on the floor again, as I said today, because I'm hoping that it'll get tall enough that I wouldn't be able to reach it if it was on the table. So, got one. And then what I'm going to do is do them sort of end over end like this. So I've got one facing down and one going up, because obviously if I stack them all the same way, they would just stack like this, right? And that's, I would get a stack like this, right? Which is not really what I'm going for. So we're going to do opposite ends, right? So I'm already going to have to put this down so I can use both hands. And the problem that I'm running into already here is that because these are paper cups. Each of them is just very slightly irregular in shape, and so the ways that they are bent in different ways is affecting how well they sit on each other. So that's another part of your building materials that you want to keep in mind is like, do they actually fit together? Because if they don't fit together well, then you're really not going to be able to build something well. So I'm already running into seeing that and seeing that that's a downfall of this shape of a structure, right? Because it only has the one other thing underneath it to sit on, right? And if it doesn't sit perfectly, then it doesn't sit well at all. I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit so you can see how far I've gotten. Not too far at all. I've got 4 cups so far. And I've already had to put them back a couple of times. So we'll see if we can get any higher than this. And if not, we will adjust accordingly. So it is tough to get past 3 or 4 of these. So I'm going to give it one more shot and then I'm going to move on because I don't think I'm going to get very much farther. All right. So building them one on top of the other just really doesn't work. I do want to see if it works any better with the plastic cups because, again, I think part of it is sort of the irregularity of the paper cups because they're more flexible, which means they're more bendable, which means they get bent, right? And they're all bent in a little bit different way. So let's see what happens with these plastic cups, which I think in terms of this shape have a couple of different things going for them. And if you're doing this at home, I am super interested to see what you've decided to try. I think that these have a couple of different things going for them in terms of this shape of a structure. One is that I think they're probably more regular because they're a little bit firmer, right? If a plastic cup gets bent, it pretty much breaks, right? So these should all be more regular in shape. And they're also wider, right? So there's more of a base here for them to sit on. So we'll see how that works, see if it works the way I think it will. But I'm already up to 4 with little to no issue. So it's already going better. So at this point, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 already. So I've gotten twice as far as I did with the paper cups, with no real sign of systemic failure here, or structural failure. Starting to wobble a little bit at the top, but not too bad still. All right, we're getting a little wobbly up here, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 cups already, so that's pretty fantastic. 14, 15, oh God. I almost took it out with a flying cup. That would have been a terrible way for it to go. So I think that's 17, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17. Yeah. I want to see if I can get to 20. Not sure. It is getting pretty wobbly now. Sort of expect that it's going to fall over at any minute, but we'll see. 18. 19. Let's see if we can get to 25, huh? 20. Oh, definitely got some shaking going on. Oof. 21. Are y'all taking bets on how far this is going to go? I think I'm breathing on it too hard when I talk. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. 22. 23. 24. I made it to 25. You guys can see that it's all the way up here. So how tall is this, I wonder? Let's find out. I brought 2 tape measures because I wasn't sure which one was going to be the more useful, but let's try this one. I'm just going to sort of estimate it. It is, oh God, I almost knocked into it again. About 33 inches so far. So we're almost 3 feet tall with these little plastic cups, just going in a straight line. Let's see if we can get 5 more. That would get us about another 6 inches, or a few more inches. Let's see if we can make it to 3 feet. I think we can do it. Yeah, actually, I think only 2 more would make it to 3 feet. So. It's going to fall. Boom! There it goes. All right. That was, what was that, 27? That was 27 cups. So I made it to 26. The 27th cup did it in. But that's pretty amazing for just like one straight line. All right, cool. So let's see. I'm going to stack these back up so that I can get them out of my way. And we're going to try something different. We're going to try a better base. So I'm going to go back to the paper cups because, again, my prediction, and I could be wrong, I was really surprised at how well the plastic cups did with that. And again, I think it was in large part due to the fact that they have such a wide base that it's just more stable. And that, again, they're more uniform, so they really can just stack up. But I think the paper cups are going to do better if I build them a better base, right? So I'm going to try a triangular base. I don't want to use a square base because I think it's just going to take up too many cups, and I don't think it's necessary to have that much. But I'm going to try a triangular base because I think that it will be more stable than just going out in a line. But I think it's going to use the fewest number of cups, allowing me to get taller. So let's see. I'm going to try 3 across. Okay. All right, so that's a triangle, right? All right, great. So, sort of like bowling pins, right? Okay, so I'm gonna. So one of the interesting things about this is that I can't, so I'm going to have to go out from here because I can't put one between each of these because they're so, although I wonder if I just spread them out a little bit, if I would be able to. So let me try that. So because when they were so close together, I couldn't really fit like one between these two and one between these two and then a separate one over here. And I still don't think I'm going to be able to because there just isn't, there's just no place to go over here between these two because this one is taking up so much space. Let me move my knee so you can see that. So see this one, the round base of it, the wider base of it just takes up so much space on the surface of this one that there's no room to go this way with another cup, right? So let's see, how can I think I just have to go with a broader base. So, and just build out from there. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try another layer. All right, so I've got 5 on each side now. And let's see, let's tighten that up a little bit. All right, so it's not quite as uniform as it was before, but we'll see how it goes. It's bigger, that's gonna help for sure. And yeah, let's just try it out. All right, so so at this point, I'm sort of putting, if I put each of the second layer on, like centered between 3 of them, then I think it works pretty well. And they don't get in the way of each other the same way. So that seems to be working. This one might need to move a little bit. Let's see if that'll help. All right, yeah, this I think will work. It's hard to do it at the tip here. But let's just keep going and see what happens. And it might end up being that for this particular challenge, right, to build the tallest tower possible with 50 cups, that this isn't, that I'm wrong and triangular is not the way to go. I might have to just go straight across with the base and see, just do the best I can, right? Because this is taking up a lot of cups just for sort of the second layer, which I didn't anticipate. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, this one is just like way off in the middle of nowhere for some reason. Oh no. The shape of the outer layer gets sort of uneven around here, around the corners, just due to the size and shape of the cups. All right, so I've got 2 layers, no problem. Everything's holding very firm. Nothing feels wobbly at all. Everything is very well supported. I feel confident that I can get a 3rd layer on here with everything very well supported. So let's go ahead and do that. again, these corners sort of are killing me because they, oh gosh, because they sort of go out in the middle of nowhere. Oh no, come on. Oh. Making me eat my words, my everything very well supported and stable. Apparently not as much as I thought. Let's see, how did I have this? All right, like that, I guess. All right. There we go. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, great. All right, some of these are starting to feel a little bit more precarious because instead of getting closer together, the three supports sort of get farther apart. All right, so we've got a third layer. Let's see what I can do now with a fourth layer. Pretty good, pretty good. All right. But now the question turns into, how do I support much of a fifth layer? Because I've gotten down to 3 cups here on top, and they're pretty far apart, to be honest. So I'm wondering if I can move them a little closer together and get, okay, all right, so I've got one there. All right, so I'm 5 cups up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Okay. And so now what I'm going to try to do is build up from here, because this is as thin as it can go, obviously. So I'm just going to try to build up from here and hope that I don't knock the whole thing down. But I'm also going to measure it right now just to see how tall I did get. Obviously not very compared to our last tower, but it's pretty stable. I say as I as I hit it with the tape measure. All right, so we are 11 inches tall right now. 11 inches. All right. So let's see how much taller than 11 inches we can go. And we're like pretty almost immediately running into the same problem that we had before with these paper cups, which is that they're not uniform enough to be very sturdy. Okay, so I think we've probably gotten to 13 inches, and I'm worried that this next one's gonna knock it over. We'll see. I'm gonna do my best not to. Okay. Okay. I mean, I'm almost done with my cups, so that's pretty great. Okay. Got some wobble going on there. I think I can get this next one on there, but the one after that might be the kicker. Let's measure it, because I think it's going to come down after this. We're at 21 inches. Really more like 20. 20 and a half inches. Okay. All right. "22 inches. And There we go. So 22 inches is how high I got with that. So like a solid foot under how well I did with just stacking the plastic cups straight up, which is pretty amazing, honestly. So let's see how well we can do with, because I think that's, well, all right. So yeah, I think that's the best we're gonna get with the paper cups. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess part of it is that we had to spend so many of them on the base, but it really didn't get us very high, you know? And I don't think that, you know, I mean, I was gonna say that I don't think that a like wider, thinner base would work, but let's try it, right? Like, why not? So let's try just a like flat out two-dimensional-ish structure, all right? And see if, because we'll be able to get it wider without using up so many cups. Let's just try it, you know? Worst case, it just fails spectacularly, but then we still will have learned something, exactly, right? So let's try it. All right, let's stack these guys back up so that I can. Definitely won't be using these cups to drink out of. They are no longer clean in any way. All right, so let's try like 10 straight out, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to line these up with a board, with the crack between the boards so that I know it's a straight line. So it can be as uniform as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, cool, great. Get out of the way a bit so you can see. All right, so again, because this is more two-dimensional rather than triangular, one of the limitations of this is that each cup is only going to be supported by 2 cups rather than 3. So we'll see what kind of difference that makes, right? Gotta try it. And because they're more narrow, they have sort of more distance between them. Actually, for some reason, yeah, I don't know why that's happening down here, but maybe this one is just sort of irregular and very narrow because the rest of them wound up fine. All right, anyways, good. Okay, so far so good. 2 layers, right? Let's see how far we can get. And if it turns out that this is just very stable, but we run out of cups, I might take off some off of the end and see if we can keep going up. Because I'm feeling like, at least so far, this is pretty darn stable. And it's really just limited by how many cups I have. So we'll see what that turns out to look like. I think I'm gonna nearly finish up with this layer without much issue. But I feel like we've really learned that we can only stack like 4 of these guys end over end, right? But it really, really the structural integrity of the tower breaks down after about 4 of these cups end over end. So, so we've got to have more of a base. And this 2-cup base is working out just fine. So I'm going to keep going. As long as I keep them centered well, they work out just fine. At least so far. So this is our 6th layer so far, and it's not really wobbly at all. It's still doing just fine. Again, I'm super interested to see what kind of structures y'all are tackling at home. If you're trying the same shapes that I'm trying, if you're trying something different, drop me a comment and let me know. All right, so 7th layer still feels very firm. Oh, that was really dumb. I just blew on it just to see how firm it was, and it's not nearly as firm as I thought it was. That was really foolish of me. All right, I'm gonna try this again because I think it was going really well. So I think one thing to think about is that the number that I have down here is pretty much how far I can get up until I have 1. So I'm gonna try fewer rows. I'm gonna try like 7 rows. Well, I'm going to try like 8 rows to see if we can get higher, okay? So I feel like that's the thing that we learned here, right? That I'm only limited by how far up I can get before I have to start building end over end. So we'll try 8 rows and see how it goes. So take out a couple of these. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, great. So let's just do this. Just gonna grab them from wherever, which is fine. I'm gonna, oh yeah. So them getting knocked over moved my base a little bit. So I'm gonna realign my base. This is what I get for trying to show off for y'all how firm my structure was. It was clearly not firm enough to withstand my breath. So not as firm as I thought it was. Live and learn, you know? That's what we're doing here. Learning by trial and error. And apparently one of the errors that you should not make is showing off in the middle of building a thing. All right, so far so good. Oop. All right, so we've got 4 layers. Still doing fine. I'm not going to blow on it this time. You know, and I think if we were using a heavier building material, right, that would have been fine. But these paper cups are super light, and just caught my breath and bowled right over. So let's not do that again. Huh, interesting. So I don't know if that was because I was getting careless because I was moving quickly. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get past 5 layers that time. I think it was probably that things were not quite as lined up as they had been. But also, again, that's one of the downfalls of this type of base, right? That it's going to blow over with the slightest provocation. because it doesn't have a three-dimensional base. So again, that was sort of what I was thinking with this shape of a base. I was surprised that we got as far as we did the first time. But yeah, I mean, I think, there's only so far you can get with a two-dimensional base, because it's just, it doesn't have enough of a wide base to support, any problems that might arise. So yeah, so paper cups, we didn't get nearly as far as I thought we might, simply because one, they're too irregular to stack well one on top of the other. Their shape didn't necessarily lend itself to a good 3D base, because they sort of became irregular. And the two-dimensional base was only as good as it could be until it got a wind or a little bit of irregularity, and again, it just kind of fell apart. So I think the best we did with the paper cups was, what do we say, 22 inches, I believe it was. So not quite even 2 feet. So we are going to give it another go with the plastic cups and see how we do. Doing fine on time. It's only about 4 o'clock. We got time for this. And again, I want to know how your experiments are going. If you have cups like this at home, or if you're using something different, let me know how it's going. Let me know what shapes you've tried. Let me know how tall it's gotten. I want to know. And what factors are sort of affecting how well you're able to do. I want to know that too. All right. So I'm gonna try the sort of two-dimensional base first with the plastic cups, partially because they're wider, and so I think that that they already have sort of a wider base to them, so maybe this will work out better. Again, I think one of the things that is going to work against us with these is that they're so smooth that they're almost slippery against one another. Now, this worked out fine last time with them because they were so regular and wide, but I'm wondering what's going to happen this time. So there's only one way to find out. Apparently dumping them all over myself is that way. All right, here we go. So again, we've got 50 of these, so let's try 10 again and see where we get, right? Just for consistency and continuity and, comparing apples to apples. So let's do 10 again. And again, I'm going to try to line them up with my board, with the crack in the boards, so that they will be well aligned. 2, 3, 4, 5. And so that this doesn't go behind me, I'm going to do my other 3 over here. So that's pretty darn wide, because again, they are just wider cups. So we'll see how this does. Second layer here. Okay, 2 layers, no problem. Go for a 3rd layer. Again, I'm not anticipating any problems at this stage. I'm also not going to try blowing on it because I learned my lesson. Okay, 3 layers, no problem. So one of the things that is, important to note, and also makes it super impressive that we got so much taller with these cups than the paper cups, is that these cups are a lot shorter than the paper cups. Like the paper cups are, let's see, I'm guessing not quite 2 inches. Yeah, well, they're pretty much 2 inches, and these are about 1.5 inches. So, even though I've got 4 layers here, that's really only about 6 inches. So we're not very tall yet. Certainly not nearly as tall as we got before with them, and not even close to as tall as we got with the paper cups. So that's 5 layers. Still going strong. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers, no problem. I think this is going to be our last layer that we can do with these cups, because that's just all the cups I have. Well, I can get one more on top here. Okay, so how tall is that? Let's find out. Oh God, don't tip over. That is, oh, come on. About 11 inches. 10 inches? 10 and a half, 11 inches. Okay, so this is very sturdy so far. I'm not going to blow on it to show you. But it's, it's not super duper tall. So if we're going for height, this is not, this is a good tower, but it is by far not the tallest tower. It's the shortest tower that we've done successfully so far. So let's try taking off. Let's try taking off one of these and see if we can do it higher. And again, one of the benefits of these is that we can stack them end over end. Now, we'll see if that works on top of a different type of structure. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Because that's what we're going to have to do at this juncture. But, we have shown that that is a thing that works with these cups. So let's try it. I'm already sort of leaning a little bit. I'm gonna, again, try really hard not to blow on it. Let's measure it and see where we're at. Sixteen inches. So again, we're still not even to the tallest tower that we built with the paper cups. So I'm hopeful that we can get higher, but we'll see. Okay, so far so good. Oh, no, that's it. Man, okay, so 17 inches like that. So that was as tall as I could get with that. again, I just think that the like two-dimensional straight out is just really tough, because it just wants to sway, you know, and it doesn't it doesn't have the structural integrity to do that, because it doesn't have a broad enough base. So yeah, so 16 inches, 17 inches was really as tall as we got with that. I'm going to try for sort of a three-dimensional base with these and see if we can get any better. But I think, man, like, for whatever reason, the end over end really was the tallest we were going to get with these, which is pretty amazing. All right, so I'm going to put these guys back together real quick so that I can use them to build a sort of pyramid-shaped structure. And we'll see how much traction we can get with that. Alright, so let's try, alright, I'm going to try a slightly different tactic here, which is instead of trying to do the outside of a triangle, I'm just going to build up like this. Alright, so we've got 4 on each side, 1 in the middle. So let's go from there. Again, it just gets tricky once you, well, it's working out pretty well. Okay, so far so good. And maybe this will be easier to sort of build out at the base so that we can get taller. All right, so we've got 4 here, just fine. Okay. I wonder, you know, I'm gonna try the end over end tower here again and see how well it does. Now that it has sort of a stronger base. So I think we've already surpassed what I was able to do with the two-dimensional base. Let's measure and see if that's true. Yeah, no, we're at 16 inches right now. So this is as tall as we got with the last tower, right? Put my hand behind me so you can see it against the white wall, sorry. Yeah, so this is as tall as we got last time. This feels a lot steadier. I think because the bottom of it is centered on 3 cups, right? So it's just more stable. It's not wobbling back and forth between 2 cups with like either side hanging off. So I'm going to see how far we can get with this. I'm feeling a little bit of wobble, but not enough that I'm super duper concerned. I am going to measure that actually. That is getting pretty wobbly. I'm just going to carefully sort of try to fix them a little bit. All right, here we go. How tall are you? 20 inches. Okay. All right. So we're almost to the tallest paper tower that we built, right? Let's see if we can surpass that paper tower. I think 2 more cups will do it. So far, so good. Let me let me just make sure that's lined up good. Okay, all right. So this tower is now in second place of the towers that I have built today. So let's see how tall it is. "23 inches. All right, yeah, so we're at almost 2 feet. 1 more will put us over 2 feet. So far, so good. I don't think I'm going to get much higher with this one for whatever reason. It just is feeling super wobbly, but I'm going to keep going because why not, right? So far, so good. I'm going to measure it again, though, because every time I put one of these, like this, it just makes me, because this is the part that tries to slip and slide, right? This is the weakest sort of joint here, where it's just like the 2, open parts of the cups, right? This joint is super strong because it's got so much surface area on both sides. This has so little surface area and it has to line up just right. And so it's really a lot weaker. Every time I put one on like this, it just makes me super nervous. So before I do that again, I'm going to measure and see where we're at. I think it's something like 25, 26 inches. Yeah, 25 and a half inches. All right. Let's see if we can do it. All right. Just got to line them up perfectly without knocking it over. You're not lined up well. Okay. All right, let's measure it again, see where we're at. I think we're probably at about, 28 inches or so? Yeah, 28 inches. And one thing I want to say about this is that my supply of cups is running low-ish, right? I've got about 10 left. So if I did another layer around the base to sort of shore it up, I wouldn't really have enough cups to make it any taller. I have to take cups off the top of this to make it another layer around the outside of the pyramid. So it's sort of reached a tipping point where I could make a more sturdy tower, but it wouldn't get any taller than this. Yeah, so for what that's worth. And before, when I thought I was only going to make it to like here, right? Remember when it started wobbling down here and I was like, oh man. I was like, oh, well, I can just do another layer around the pyramid and see how much taller we can get. But at this point, I would need, I don't know, something in the neighborhood of 20 cups to make another layer all the way around and up the pyramid. And I just don't have that in my hand. So I'm going to see how tall we can get here, and this is going to be how tall it gets, right? So let's try another one up here. We're at what, 28 inches? Okay. Okay. feeling super wobbly. But it was feeling super wobbly the first time I did it, and it has lasted. So where are we at? Guessing like 31 inches or so. Yeah, 31 inches. I don't know that we're going to make it to 3 feet, but we're going to try, man. We're going to try. Let's see, this is where we're at, just so you can sort of see where we're at. So let's see, compared with how tall I am. We're like waist high here. So that's pretty good. That's pretty cool. We're going to keep going though and see how far we can get. I'm going to sort of realign these guys down here, hopefully without nudging them too much. Because again, those edges of the cup are just really the weakest link. Because there's just not enough surface area to be stable. And again, they're so smooth that there's no friction to like keep them on each other, right? They just want to slide right off. Where are we at here? Thirty-three and a half inches. All right, if we can do 2 more, we will have beat 3 feet, which I will feel pretty proud about. But let's see if we can make it happen. Okay. That's the guy. All right. So we made it to what, like 34 inches? Still pretty good. And about the same that we did last time. So yeah, just under 3 feet is how far we can get with that. But yeah, I feel pretty proud of that. Yeah, I mean, you know, if I had unlimited cups, how far could I get? I think pretty high with a structure like that. I think, you know, you build a huge pyramid and you can get, I mean, I think, you know, sky's almost the limit with that. But I had 50 cups, so that's how far I could get. Thanks so much for joining us for STEM Shenanigans today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you had fun building along with me from home if you did that. If you didn't, this recording will be posted and you can get a kit from the Sellers Library. They're available until supplies run out. So come on down anytime we're open and pick up a STEM kit. And we'll see you back here same time next month. All right, take care, y'all.